explainers ever on
Yeah.
this. You get approved, or I know I'm going to get approved. Right. It's so crazy just how much of a gap that is. And that's really where Altro focuses its energy at. Is we have dedicated our company and our team and our mission to solving that gap, to making it very obvious on what you have to do as a consumer to go from I don't have credit to I know I'm going to get this credit card or this financial tool or this
Mhm.
loan for college. Right. And once you create that transparent gap, that educational tool, that 0 to 1, you've just solved a bridge for millions of people to actually get into financial tools without the delay and the worry and the fear of it. Right. So we start with subscriptions, right? Everyone has a Netflix, a Hulu, a
Yeah.
Spotify. We take goal to put them all in a financial tool, a revolving line of credit to help people build credit using their subscriptions. There's no credit check. You don't have to have previous credit. It doesn't matter who you are. As
Mhm.
long as we can make sure A, you're a real person, and B, you have a Netflix, you can start building credit, which is awesome.
Wow. What are the mechanisms that allows you to do that? Because I feel like there's so many, different, not gridlocks, but different hoops you have to jump through. I mean, I know like for me, I was able to build some credit off of like my gas and electric bill, but there was so much that I had to give them information wise, like social security and my date of birth, where I was born. I mean, there was some crazy information they asked me. My the name of my first pet for security reasons. I don't know what that information is really about, but yeah, how does that mechanism work within using subscriptions now to build credit?
Yeah, we actually work with all three bureaus to report your data to your credit file. So everyone has this public credit account, credit file that says what your score is, your accounts, your lines, any defaults. And we create that for people who haven't had a credit score before or haven't interacted with the bureaus. And we approve it for those who already do have one, but it may not be good enough to get a
Mhm.
financial product, or if they want a better financial product. Maybe they want to discount the rate on their mortgage by a couple points by increasing their score, whatever it may be. We actually take, after we verify you're a real person, so we make sure you know your name and where you live and all that's accurate. We then just tie your subscriptions to this revolver, and the app explains all of it beginning to end. Then
Yeah.
we start reporting it to bureaus.
Wow. So is it just like some kind of data bottleneck that previously existed, but now you've kind of found, I don't want to say a loophole, but a workaround to add more information to these credit bureaus to then build credit?
Yeah, I would say the loophole is really that financial institutions don't really have a means to operate with people who don't have credit, right?
Mm,
And this is just pure capitalism, economics, whatever word you want to put in there. But if I am Bank of America and there's millions of people out there who have a great credit score, has a lot of finances, they're traveling all the time, I want to work with them, right? I know that they have money. I know they're a real person. I know that they can use my tools, very little risk. But when you look at 86 million Americans who have never had access before, you don't know where they are in their financial story. You don't know you don't know who they are.
mm,
It's a risk, right? And banks and financial institutions would rather ignore these people just from an economic sense and focus on this population that they know is real. And, this would be fine and dandy if, you know, the history of America didn't have bias in it, right? If
right.
everything was fair game and we were all equal people, then no problem. But the moment that you've enacted any level of bias, you've enacted bias in your decisioning on who gets credit and who doesn't. And you
Yeah.
can see that in the numbers, right? I think it's like 85% of African Americans get denied on their first credit application.
Wow.
The same is for women, same is for people in Hispanic communities. It's insane just how much of a disparagement there is,
Mhm.
right? And that's just because of our history.
Yeah. With companies like Altro, do you think that there's gonna be, it sounds like, it's like the excuse would be safety, or, it's like, there's less risk in approving these individuals because of their history. Even though there's an opportunity to build history, there's no way. So it's this like, never ending loop. Are companies like Altro giving more data, giving other types of, no, revenue incentives or subscriptions or data around that, pushing it to these bureaus? Do you think that'll allow more access, not only to at the individual level, but from the, financial institutions to, even reach a broader audience? Because it seems like it benefits both at this point.
No, you're exactly on it. And this is the first time that you're seeing Wall Street, the Hill, and the community all play into the same ballpark, right?
Yeah.
And I can explain all three. From the Wall Street's perspective, you just said it. If we can take 86 million people and show these are the people who are great actors, these are the people who aren't, or these are the people who want to build credit. These are the people who want to stay as far away as possible from the credit system. The financial institutions can now work with less risk, right? They're like, hey, we can give these people our financial products because Ultra already showed us that they're real people. They're looking for credit products. They're paying their loans back, right? And that gives people a second chance or maybe even a first chance into the system. From, the Hill perspective, we're helping people that the government has tried really hard to help, but maybe just hasn't done the best job. There's so many initiatives and projects and opportunities that, our government has launched, but it doesn't really solve the root problem of accessibility. It's like that quote, like, if you teach a man to fish rather than giving them a fish, you
Right.
know, we're actually teaching people how to fish, which is great.
Yeah.
And community perspective, there's so many people, so many edge cases where we actually have changed lives, right?
Yeah.
We have had members who were in a divorce and, lo and behold, divorces can hurt your credit by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, they had their score taken down by 100, 200 points. And we helped them get their score back up so that they can go get a new apartment. Or, we've had people, unfortunately have been in like abusive households
Mhm.
where, the husband is like the breadwinner of the family and you can't really escape the situation because you can't get a job and you can't get a job because you don't have a credit score, which is crazy that a credit score is used to underwrite your job. But regardless, we
Yeah.
help people build their credit score in those situations so that they can break out of those family issues. So many situations across the spectrum from financially acumen to people just wanting to learn what finances are, um, really just helping a lot of people. So,
I love that. From the community level, that accessibility piece is so important. I was talking to another founder, and they were allowing people to have the access to make or to get rewarded based on purchases they made that were carbon friendly. And it's like all these initiatives aren't, they're pushed by private businesses to allow people to do what they want to do. And then when you give people the accessibility, it automatically compounds on itself and grows. So it's incredible to see that from all perspectives, Ultra is really influencing people to, productively pay more, get more incentives, companies to make more money, access more individuals. I'm curious, in being that you're so involved in credit and it's such an interesting, phenomenon. I think a lot of people understand it, don't understand it. We sometimes get why the scores go up and down, but when there's like some kind of financial, I guess, mishap. I don't even know what what you would say, but like in 2008, a lot of people who, defaulted on their houses and then had to rebuild their credit, they're not able to make, or go over this hump. What are some ways credit really benefits you? And what are some ways that you think it really limits certain individuals?
yeah, man, there's so many edge cases.
Yeah.
Or I think in terms of the basics, right? To get a apartment, to get a car, to get a job, you need a credit score. For part of the diligence. In terms of any upward mobility, in terms of financial tooling, you need a credit score. The average cost of just living is decreased at like a percent level. And I don't want to quote it because I don't know the number exactly, but there's a great difference in having a 650 versus a 750 score and how much you pay just to live, right? Also, there's even more protections like credit allows you to do chargebacks, right? This is the small stuff. Like if you have fraud on your card and it's a debit card, it's much harder to get your money back than if it's a credit card. Um, there's protections there. You can manage your cash flow. There's just so much that comes with credit. And you're so right that '08 kind of scared families into saying credit's a bad thing.
Mhm.
I mean, like it's a very common thing in Black communities that like you don't touch credit
Yeah.
because credit has negative connotations. It has debt, it has high interest rates, it has loan sharks, it has payday lending, like all these things. Like even buy now, pay later puts people in a weird situation with their finances.
Yeah.
um, there's not a lot of companies focusing on empowerment. So I think we really double down on that and the importance of credit and just what it brings to you.
I love that. What kind of traction are you seeing now that you've built Ultra? You're reaching all different. I would say the triad of who you're working with. Where is Ultra? Where are the numbers? How much has it grown in the last year? Give me a little bit more information about who you're working with, who you've affected, and where you're kind of looking to increase your effectivity.
Yeah, so we've gone viral twice,
Love that.
which is amazing. We've been top 10 in the App Store a number of times, which has been great. But we've been really purposeful on our onboarding experience. And when I say that, when we first launch products, we onboard people one by one to make sure that they're getting what we expect and they understand the product. And if they don't, we go back to the drawing board, we rebuild. We really take our time in making sure that we're delivering the right customer